going to teach you the Georgia on My Mind fingerstyle guitar arrangement that you just heard. I will go through measure by measure, note by note, and show you how to play this, kind of as if we're just sitting in a room together working on it. I'll show notation and tabs on the screen and point things out with the actual music if that's helpful for you to follow along with. Otherwise, I'll point out just how to play it on the fretboard, what fingers, what frets, that kind of thing. I love this tune. I love this arrangement. Let's do it. I'm Jared Borkowski from SoundGuitarLessons.com, where I have courses that help guitarists express themselves more freely and confidently through arranging, through improvisation, through fretboard theory, mastery, chord melody, and much more. If you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe and follow along. I have new lesson videos coming out every single week. This arrangement is in the key of C. I find that learning all my songs that I want to learn, transposing to the key of C is very helpful for me. It's kind of a strategy I do for song learning. This tune just happens to work perfectly in the key of C as a solo guitar arrangement. For solo guitar arrangements, I'll find the key that I think sits best in standard tuning, just based on where the bass movements move, and you'll see what I mean as I show you these bass movements. The first chord here, just a nice simple C chord. Do not put your middle finger down for this C chord. You're going to be plucking the strings 5, 3, 2, and 1. So kind of a standard piece of advice for solo guitar playing is or any guitar playing, don't put down a finger that you're not actually using, okay? Because we don't need that note until right here, right? Fret 2. So that's when you put it down. And then you put it down because you need it, okay? So we're gonna pluck that C chord and then fourth finger up to that 3rd fret, and then the thumb moves, the thumb of the plucking hand plucks this fret 2 string 4, okay? So we get this kind of alternating sound for a moment. That's a little bit like a Travis Picking fingerstyle Chet Atkins kind of thing. Okay, now a really fun little walking bass line down to the next chord, which is E major, do, 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 okay? Now, notice the fingering here. If you are looking at tab mostly, look up here for fingering suggestions. We have finger 3, finger 2, and then finger 2 again. When there's a little line in front of a number, in front of a fingering number, it's because it's the same finger and it's saying, just you are shifting that same finger and using it again. It's just a little extra visual cue to say, hey, you're moving that same finger you just used. So you're doing 3, 2, 2, okay? The reason we do this, instead of do, 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 3, 2, 1, open, we're going 3, 2, 2, and shifting a little bit for that, is because we need this first finger to rotate over here, 3rd string, 1st fret. That is the note G sharp. In the chord E major, okay? So if you're looking at the tab, you can just see, oh, nicely. Okay, here we go. Open strings, 1st fret there, okay? This is an E major chord. Again, don't play an E major chord that you're familiar with as a shape. Play just the notes that are needed, okay? Love this melody, okay? Da, 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 da. That note, da, da, of the tune is the 7 of E7. So it's a nice little spicy sound. Here we have that alternating bass sound again. Okay, and we get again another chromatic note, which means it's outside of the key. This B flat right here, this in-between note, is moving quickly as a passing tone between the 2 chords. Now it's moving to A minor. Okay, so you're gonna pluck A root and then the chord with your I, M, and A fingers of the plucking hand. And then the open string, okay? And then jump over to this. I love that because now we're hearing the bass movement. It's all about the bass movement here. So we don't even have a chord for that moment, but we get the do, do. It's a very powerful kind of movement there, and that melody goes up. Do, okay? Kind of a tricky moment here because you're holding this, first finger and pinky, okay? And then your pinky needs to play this D note, 3rd fret, 2nd string. So you really need to rotate your wrist over. This is having like a relaxed, ready to rotate arm and wrist is very important for different positions. So we're rotating it over here so we can squeeze those into the same fret position, and then you're gonna move that. So we're keeping the melody and the bass independent as separate voices, which is what great solo guitar playing, fingerstyle, and classical guitar do. Okay, so right after playing da da boom, then you move that. Okay, so it sounds like this. Okay, little tip, if you're hearing a lot of squeak from that movement, just lift it up straight off the string and hop it over. And right after that, you're gonna pluck with your index and middle finger. Okay, this is a D chord. And then right after that, okay, a little bit of a stretch. You wanna hold this note still so it keeps ringing ideally. And you move these two down a fret and pluck strings 6, 4, and 3. Okay, now right after that, the melody is gonna go finger 3 to 4 on fret 1, 3 of the second string while you're holding that. Okay, it's gonna feel like a stretch. Worst case scenario, you get some notes cutting out that don't ring all the way, right? Like if these cut out, but you get the melody, it's still gonna really sound like the song, right? So we wanna connect, let things ring over each other as much as possible to the extent that it's intended for the arrangement. If you have to cut something out because of you don't have the stretch, you don't have the reach, try to let the melody never get cut off and let the harmony sacrifice. Don't do the other way around, okay? So now, after having just said that, if the melody's ringing for a while and it gets cut off a little early, that's also acceptable, right? We just don't want it to be audibly weird sounding based on how we are familiar with the tune. Okay? Important thing here with this E minor 7 chord, you see on the tablature 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 has all those zeros, it's these notes. Okay, and I am playing it with my thumb first, middle, ring, and then pinky of the plucking hand. And you see a C above that top note. C means the pinky of the plucking hand. In classical guitar, thumb is P, index is I, middle is M, ring finger is A, and the pinky is C. This is because of the Spanish names for the fingers, so that's why some of the letters don't line up, though index and middle line up. You can, in this arrangement, when there are spots that require the pinky and you don't want to use it, just take a note out. Don't take the melody out, but take another note out. Probably don't take the bass note out. I just did a video a bit ago recently about how you can alter what you're working on, adapt, change something to have it fit for you. That's a great example of that right there. If you feel stuck on something and don't know how to adapt things for yourself, please check out that video. I'll put a link to it in the description. So now we have, okay, this A7 chord with a 9. And I didn't put the chord symbols above because it would just muck up the sheet music too much, but I have another video that goes through the actual chords of Georgia on My Mind. I'll link to that in the description as well if you want to work on just the chords. But this also has the pinky, okay? So just avoid one of these other notes, and in this case, you can not play the root if you don't want to. We have to bar on this 5th fret and use the pinky for the melody. It's a very beautiful spot there. Okay, now on to measure 6, the beginning of the first ending here. We're going to stay in this position and shift over. This is quite nice. The fingering is important though. And you can see here the fingering says finger 2, finger 4, finger 3. I wrote fingerings in for when it's important, and I did not include the fingerings if it's obvious or less important. So we're going to shift over. The middle finger's already on string 3. You're going to shift over, so now it's on fret 5, and then the pinky goes down here, and then you get this D shape. We have an open D root, and this happens to be a D minor 7 chord, okay? And you're gonna play it with these 3 fingers. That's great practice if you're not used to that shape with those. So you're playing this A7 bar chord, and then you shift over here, okay? Now we're going to take this first finger. Notice some of the principles that are happening. If I have to jump to, reach to next, something with a certain finger, it's nice to have that free. I'm going down to this root note of G, and that finger's free to get down there. I do have to jump this second finger to string 4. This is a beautiful voicing of G13. And again, I'm using the pinky, and you can just eliminate one of those notes, or in this case, you could even strum, but you don't want that open A string to ring, so just make sure it's muted if you do strum, okay? You're welcome to do it that way. Okay, so, okay, quite nice. Da, da, da. So you're gonna go, so nice. So the root doesn't land on the beat this time. And it's very ergonomically smooth here. The pinky stays there. Keep that note ringing as much as possible. If you look at the sheet music in the notation part, you'll see it's a whole note. It's supposed to ring the whole measure. all the other stuff is happening. This is a 2-5 E minor 7 to A7, okay? When you play the A root, you want to mute the E string. You don't want to keep that ringing, so you don't want it muddy over it. I'm, in this case, muting it with the side of my finger. So when I play the A, the thumb is touching and muting that. It keeps it very clean and very nice. Here's one of the most signature parts of this song. Georgia on my mind. That out note, that spicy note there. Here's that shape we did before. It's a D shape up on the 5th fret. And again, this is a D minor 7 chord with this shape. Quite doable. And then your pinky's free. And yes, your pinky's way over here. But still, the fact that it's free means you could just kind of swiftly rotate your position and land on the pinky right there on fret 4, string 2, okay? And right after that, you play this bottom end of that chord. So if you look at it from the beginning again, measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, goes to the first ending. The second time around, here's the repeat sign here. Second time around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go to the second ending. So you just jump to here. So if you're not familiar with how that works in sheet music, that's how that works. It just is to save space. So you don't rewrite the same thing out. So here's the A section, do, 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 second time. Okay, now we're jumping to the second ending. Now we're gonna go over here to fret 1 and bar the top 2 strings and play the open D string. Okay, and then you're gonna pluck with your first finger, string 3, fret 2. Okay, da, da. Okay, and then we're gonna play this shape we played before, but with fingers 3 and 4. Look, they're free. They're free and they're gonna go right here. Now that's not super smooth. You have to let go of this a little before you get to that chord, but you can see how it's logical to give us, you wouldn't want to jump to that chord like this because you're using these 2 fingers here and it's just, there's no way you'll ever get it smooth. Okay, so we're playing that same G13 shape. So, da, 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 okay, da, da, da. And then we land on beat 1 with the root. I'll play that again. Okay, you can kind of just follow the tab for that or follow what I'm doing on the screen for that. Okay, here's a very, very cool part. So we kind of resolved now to the main chord, and then we're gonna play this, this interesting kind of neighboring chord that's out of the key that's kind of haunting. Really nice. Now, ideally in the arrangement, da, da, on my mind. You wouldn't re-hit that mind, 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 but in the arrangement, because we have to move our fingers, we're gonna play it multiple times to get a sense of it sustaining. Georgia on my mind, ba, ba, ba. Right, you might think of that as like a background singer or an orchestra kind of re-articulating something, dun, 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 giving a little ornamentation behind the melody. So then we're gonna go da, da, da. E7, easy, just pluck the bottom 4 strings there, and then we just keep that shape and go do, 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 okay? And land right here to the B section. The B section is lovely, okay? So it's an A minor chord. Another reminder that don't get familiar with this being an A minor chord and just jumping to the shape. Put that first finger down when it comes up in the sheet music. Okay, okay. This is so fun. This section is really interesting. I'll play that again. Melody down first, then the chords. The chords are coming on the beats and the melody is syncopated. Okay, A minor is the other way now. We play this first with the root and then pluck those. You're putting down what you need as it comes up. Okay, now you have to bar here. We're on the second measure of the B section. Bar here, bar. Okay, this is an F7 chord. Ooh, and actually, oh, I didn't write it in, but I should have. Use your third finger on that second fret, 3rd string for that chord, because then it can stay there when you go back to. Okay, little note here. Try to connect that if you can. If you can't, it's okay. So here's not connected. Sounds okay. Do ba But if you can connect it, other arms. And actually, really, you can just choose to taste for yourself. Play what feels expressive to you, what feels, you're the artist, you can do it how you want. And this is other I smile. Okay, here is tenderly. Here's one of those pinky voicings again. I did not put a C on the top this time, though I should have, but it's also obvious that it's all those. You can absolutely strum this one because there's no strings to miss. You just strum from the A, strum with your thumb from the A string if you don't want to use your pinky and you want to play all those notes, or you can eliminate any of the notes in between. Okay, we are on measure 16 here. That particular measure happens 3 times the exact same thing, so you'll get comfortable with that. Okay, and then we are going to finally go up the neck. You want to track your pinky along the string. This is an awesome little pro tip for guitarists changing positions if possible. We have this chord here, which happens to be, it looks and feels like a B half diminished chord, but technically, in the arrangement, the way I'm thinking of it, it's a D minor 6 chord in third inversion. Don't worry about that if you're not interested in the theory. But this pinky is on string 2, fret 3, and then we're going to track it. I call it tracking it. You're still touching the string. You're not pushing down, so you're not hearing that, but you're touching it kind of like it's running along a track. And then it goes up to fret 8 here, and then you play this. Okay? It really helps the transition. You get this little track movement. So, okay. So this is an A minor 7 chord. You're gonna play open A, fret 7, 5, 8, just that. And you're barring here to prepare for this note up here on the 5th fret that you have to play. So it's, so cool. I love that. It just feels great. After all of that, to go up the guitar a little bit feels really nice, and also coinciding with the sound of the melody finally getting up there when it goes to this as the highest note yet of the arrangement, of the tune, of the melody. Okay, so I'm plugging that with my pinky just for my practice of that. This is a place where you can just plug it with anything. Probably plug it with your A finger, okay, your ring finger. Okay, so this is just a standard B dominant 7 bar chord. And that's what you're gonna play, the melody, and then immediately pluck the bottom 4 strings of it. And then you're gonna go, pinky's gonna go down on fret 10, string 2. Dun, dun. Beautiful resolution. Okay, this is an E minor 7 chord. Nice shape, no bar or anything like that. Tips of the fingers, 3rd finger, 1st finger, 2nd finger. Fret 9, 7, 8. Okay. Then you get to play the open E string and transition while you play the open E string. Okay. Here we are on this big A7 chord. You can strum this if you want, or pluck with missing one of the strings that sounds good to you, and I'm plucking with 5 fingers. Okay. By the way, on the sheet music, the C means barring, right? So you see a C, Roman numeral 2, that means you're barring on the 2nd position. I should have mentioned this earlier, right? So if you look at measure 13, it says C1, you're barring on fret 1. Here you see on measure 17, half C5, okay, Roman numeral 5. You're doing a half bar on, or really it's a partial bar, it's not always half. So that's why the brackets are here. Here it says half bar, measure 18, where we're at here. Half bar, so the C on position 2, fret 2, but it's these 3 strings, 4, 3, 2. It's not just half the strings. It is half the strings, but it's 4, 3, 2 instead of, either the top half or bottom half. Anyway, you don't have to worry about that because there's a bracket that shows you exactly what ones you have to bar. Realistically, it feels like you're barring the top 4 strings, okay? Okay, now we're going to pluck, and I should say, this that says 5, 2, this is saying 7, the Roman numeral 5, Roman numeral 2, V and 2. That's saying position 7, but it's not a bar if it doesn't say C before it. Sometimes you'll also see B before it for bar. So that just means you're in position 7. And the reason that would be in sheet music here in measure 18, where you see that, that's that E minor 7 chord. is that there's other places where you can play that same chord. So it's saying, make sure you're playing this in the right position. Of course, if you're looking at the tab, that takes care of it for you, but this is for if someone's reading only the sheet music, okay? On to the last measure before the DC-L coda. This is measure 19. Da, da. Open E. I love this part so much. Do, do. Then we get to go back to the top. So A7, open E, and then you get finger 2, 3, 1, and then put your fourth finger down here before you do the rest. Move your second finger over, and then you have, and lift off your first finger, then you have this shape, okay? So it's a 2-5. Oh, that's so nice, isn't it? That's true voice leading. Beautiful sound there, I really love that. Okay, now DC-L coda means da capo, back to the top, just to the very beginning, and then jump to the coda when you see it says to coda. So DC-L coda, to the top and then to the coda. So you go back to the beginning, and then when it says to coda right here, after measure 5, you jump to the coda symbol, which is at the bottom there, and you play the rest of it, okay? That will be... So we have, and then that's the whole thing. That is the arrangement. If you want to get this sheet music, you can download it totally for free. It's inside my solo guitar arrangement pack. You can get that with the link in the top of the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can go to soundguitarlessons.com/moon. Then you can just print it out, or have it in front of you when you're working on it, and come back to this video to look at details, or look at the performance demonstration at the beginning to check how you're doing, maybe try to play along with it, maybe check fingerings, that kind of thing. What I recommend you watch next is my video on the Georgia on My Mind chords, because again, well, here I mentioned a bunch of the harmonies, so don't let that stress you out. Just go learn the chords separately and learn them as just chords to strum and hum the melody, sing the melody, or just play the chords, have someone else play the melody. So you really feel like you understand the harmony itself. That will help you play this arrangement so much better. You know what happened with this arrangement is I simply was wanting to just strum around and play the song Georgia on My Mind because I had the tune in my head and I wanted to just play it. I love the tune. I've always loved it, and I wanted to internalize it deeper. So I moved it to the key of C, started playing the chords, really started understanding the chords under it and kind of singing the melody. And this arrangement kind of came to life on its own. Those two things all help each other, right? Knowing a solo guitar arrangement is going to help you remember the chords and just the song itself better. And knowing the song itself, really just being able to play normal, easy voicings of the chord and sing through it, or whatever your way of working on a song is going to help you immensely with accurately interpreting a solo guitar arrangement. I post a new lesson video every single week. I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy practicing.